So first one, the bony vertebral column provides structural support, protection of the spinal cord and the nerves, and mobility. These are the functions of vertebral column. Now come to the vertebral anatomy. Spine consists of 33 vertebrae, and in these 33 vertebrae, 7 cervical vertebrae are there, 12 thoracic vertebrae and 5 lumbar vertebrae are there, and then sacrum, and then comes coccyx. This is a picture of vertebrae, spinal, this is the vertebrae. Upper one is cervical vertebrae, middle one is thoracic vertebrae, and these are lumbar vertebrae. Below these sacrum and coccyx. Now vertebral anatomy. With the exception of C1, the cervical, thoracic and lumbar vertebrae consist of a body anteriorly, two pedicles that project posteriorly from the body, and two laminae that connect the pedicles. These structures form the vertebral canal, which contains the spinal cord, spinal nerves and epidural space. The laminae give rise to the transfer processes that project laterally and the spinous process that projects posteriorly. These bony projections serve as sites of muscle and ligament attachments. The pedicles contain a superior and inferior vertebral notch through which the spinal nerves exit the vertebral canal. This is a picture of vertebra. This is spinous process, and which is posteriorly. This is anterior part, this is posterior part. This is spinal canal in which spinal cord is there. These are transfer processes. This is laminae which connects both parts. So this is the anatomy of vertebra. This is lateral view. Spinal nerves exit, spinal nerve roots exit from here. This is intervertebral foramina. This is intervertebral disc. Now surface anatomy and landmarks. Identifying individual vertebrae is important for correctly locating the desired interspace for epidural and spinal blockade. The C7 and T1 spinous processes are the most prominent and the easily palpated while running the hand down the back of the neck. The 12th thoracic vertebra can be identified by palpating the 12th rib and tracing it back to its attachment to T12. A line drawn between the iliac crest crosses the body of L4 or the L4 to L5 interspace. Spinous processes generally are palpable to help identify the midline. If unable to palpate the spinous process, one can look at the upper crease of the buttocks and line up the midline as long as there is no scoliosis or other deformities of the spine. This is a picture of vertebrae and how we palpate the spinous process. This is spinous process and we have to palpate it by thumbs. In the cervical and lumbar areas, the spinous processes are nearly horizontal, so with flexion we would only need to angle the needle slightly cephalated. In the thoracic area, the spinous processes are slanted in the caudal direction, and so we have to angle the needle more cephalated. Now, what is Taufeer's line? This is a line drawn between the highest points of both iliac crest with yield either the body of L4 or the L4-L5 interspace. So this line is to identify the interspace L4-L5. Now ligamentum flavum. Ligamentum flavum is posterior to the epidural space. It extends from the foramen magnum to the sacral hiatus. Is not one continuous ligament but composed right and left ligamenta flava which meet in the midline, form an acute angle with a ventral opening. May or may not be fused in the middle. The ligamentum flavum is thickest in the midline, measuring 5 to 6 millimeter at the L2 to L3 interspace of adults. The distance between the ligamentum flavum and the spinal meninges is also greater in the midline, measuring 3 to 8 millimeter at the L2 L3 interspace. Distance from the skin to ligament varies from 3 to 8 centimeter in the lumbar area. It is 4 centimeter in 50% of the patients and 4 to 6 centimeter in 80% of the patients. Thickness of the ligamentum flavum also varies. In the thoracic area, it can range from 3 to 5 millimeter, and in the lumbar, it can range. This is the range of thickness. Now, structure, it comes when we do spinal anesthesia. This is the anterior part. This is posterior part, this is skin, then come to subcutaneous and fat tissues, then spinous processes, then supraspinous ligament, then interspinous ligament, and this is epidural space, this is spinal cord, and these are the body of vertebra, this is intervertebral disc. So these structure comes when we give spinal anesthesia. This is all the picture, also the cross section of vertebral part. This is skin, this is fat, this is supraspinous ligament, this is spinous process, this interspinous ligament, then epidural space, and this is spinal cord, and this is a vertebral body, and this is intervertebral disc. This is the same picture. Now, anatomical considerations of the spinal cord and neuraxial blockade. The termination of spinal cord is in adults, it is up to L1, and in children it is up to L2, and in infants it is up to L3. This is subarachnoid space, this is dura mater. In adults usually ends at L1, infants L3. There are anatomical variations also there. Now CSF. Cerebrospinal fluid is clear fluid that fills the subarachnoid space. Total volume in adults is 100 to 150 ml. Volume found in the subarachnoid space is 25 to 35 ml. Reabsorbed into the bloodstream by arachnoid villi and granulations. Specific gravity of CSF is between 1.003 to 1.009. This will play a crucial role in the veracity of local anesthetics that one chooses. CSF plays a role in the patient to patient variability in relation to block height and sensory motor regression. Now, indications of spinal anesthesia. All surgical interventions below the umbilicus is the general guiding principle. There are surgeries involving lower limb like inguinal hernia, piles, fistula, and fissures. Gynecological procedures like abdominal and vaginal hysterectomies, caesarean sections, open tubectomies. Others are orthopedic surgeries on the pelvis, femur, tibia, and the ankle. Urological procedures like transurethral resection of the prostate, which is TURP, and URS. And surgeries involving perineum and genitalia. These are the indications of spinal anesthesia, surgeries below umbilicus. These are the dermatomes which we have to block. Dermatomal levels of spinal anesthesia are procedure upper abdominal surgery, dermatome to be blocked are T4 to T5. Intestinal, gynecological, and urological surgical procedure we have to block T6 to T8. Vaginal delivery, hip surgery, T blockade of T10. Thigh surgery L1, foot and ankle surgery L2, perineal anal surgery S2 to S5. So time is up, so we have to continue this. Tomorrow we will continue this. Thank you very much.